Coming up on Network Africa. 11 Nigerians stranded in the Central African Republic return home safely following the assistance of the federal government. South Africa says it does not place a lot of expectations on the Russia-US summit in Alaska, as US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will be meeting. Plus, Kenya's William Ruto calls for one unified Africa-led initiative on the peace processes for the Democratic Republic of Congo. Hello and welcome to the program today. It's the last episode for the week. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin in Mali, where the military rulers have announced the arrest of several military personnel and civilians, including 2 Malian generals and a suspected French agent accused of attempting to destabilize the country. The announcement followed recent rumors about the arrest of Malian army officers. Mali Security Minister General Daudou Ali Mohamed confirmed the development on state TV, assuring the public that a full investigation is underway and the situation is completely under control. This development comes amid an ongoing crackdown on dissent by Mali's military following a pro-democracy rally in May, the first since the military seized power nearly 4 years ago. The security minister stated that the French national acted on behalf of the French intelligence service, which mobilized political leaders, civil society actors and military personnel within Mali. However, France is yet to respond to the allegations and arrests. Or here in Nigeria, 11 Nigerian miners who were stranded in the Central African Republic have returned home safely following the assistance of the federal government. They arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Thursday, August 14, aboard an Askai Airlines flight facilitated by Nigeria's ambassador to the Central African Republic, Babagana Ahmed, and received by a federal government delegation led by NEMA's Director of Search and Rescue, Air Commodore Kenneth Oyong. The returning miners were processed through immigration and security screening before being formally received at the Hajj terminal. Well, speaking on behalf of the federal government, the Director General of NEMA, Zubeida Umar, affirmed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's resolve to protecting Nigerians in distress anywhere in the world. They appreciate the miners were abandoned by their employers in a remote location in the CAR before seeking help from the embassy in Bangui. A new United Nations report says the number of conflict-related sexual violence cases reported in 2024 has increased by 25% from the previous year. UN spokesperson Stephen Dujarric says 63 state and non-state parties are listed, suspected of committing or being responsible for sexual violence in armed conflict. According to the report, in Congo's Kivu alone, health workers treated more than 17,000 victims of sexual violence over just 5 months last year as battles between Congolese forces and M23 rebels intensified. The report also charts crimes like rape, gang rape and sexual slavery.
The report marks a staggering 25% increase from the previous year, with the highest number of cases recorded in the Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Haiti, Somalia, and South Sudan. To quickly summarize what has been included, 63 state and non-state parties are listed in the annex of the report, credibly suspected of committing or being responsible for patterns of rape and other forms of sexual violence in armed conflict, which is on the agenda of the Security Council. The report also introduces for the first time an appendix whereby parties are put on notice for potential listing in the next report of the Secretary General.
Kenya's President William Ruto has welcomed a unified Africa-led initiative to regulate crisis in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. And this was during the East African Community EAC and Southern African Development Community SADC Extraordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government. Well, the meeting follows years of violent conflict in North and South Kivu. The Democratic Republic of Congo has long accused Rwanda of supporting the M23 rebel group, an accusation that Kigali has denied. Earlier on July 26, the Qatar-mediated DRC M23 Declaration of Principles was signed. Before the declaration, a landmark agreement between DRC and Rwanda, brokered by the US and Qatar, was also signed in Washington on June 27. Well, the deal calls for the creation of a joint security mechanism within 30 days, the complete withdrawal of Rwandan troops within 3 months, and the launch of a regional economic plan within 90 days. South Africa's presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya today in Pretoria advised to keep expectations low ahead of the meeting of Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump in Alaska. But nonetheless, he says it is a positive development that the meeting will be taking place. Mr. Magwenya also expressed hope that the meeting sets a process that will get peace negotiations and ultimately a resolution of the Ukrainian conflict. The high-profile meeting between the Russian and US presidents is set to take place in Anchorage, Alaska, covering the Ukrainian conflict and bilateral economic cooperation. The program will include a head-to-head between President Putin and President Trump, as well as a meeting between Russian and US delegations and a joint presidential press conference following the talks. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that decisions on the Russian-Ukraine conflicts that are made without Kyiv's participation will never work. All diplomatic exchanges between Moscow and Washington resumed in February, with a number of leaders, phone calls and meetings between delegations taking place.
President Ramaphosa sees that meeting as part of the ongoing process, or rather part of the ongoing efforts to get a peace process going with respect to the peaceful resolution of the conflict in Ukraine. I don't think one can place a lot of expectations on one meeting between two leaders over a conflict that has other affected as well as interested parties. But nonetheless, it is a positive development that that meeting will be taking place. And President Ramaphosa certainly hopes that that meeting will set forth a process that will get us into actual actions between all key parties. You are quite correct in your preamble to your question that South Africa has played quite a role and South Africa remains involved. You will have noticed that last week, I think, the president in 1 week had spoken to President Trump, President Putin, as well as President Zelensky. And so President Ramaphosa has been well briefed on the developments leading up to this meeting in Alaska, as well as the perspectives of all the key parties to that conflict. And it is his hope that the Alaska meeting will set off a process that will get us to peace negotiations and ultimately a resolution of that conflict.
In the meantime, South Africa's army chief has been criticized after he reportedly pledged military and political support to Iran during a recent visit to the country. Members of South Africa's governing coalition have accused General Rudzani Mapwanya of reckless grandstanding, while President Cyril Ramaphosa confirmed he will meet with the general to discuss what he terms the ill-advised trip. The row comes after South Africa navigates tense relations with the U.S., which has taken exception to the country's ties with Iran, among other issues. The Democratic Alliance, that's part of South Africa's government, has called for General Mapwanya to be court-martialed. It said his comments had gone beyond military-to-military discussions and entered the realm of foreign policy. And South Africa's Defense Department labeled the general's remarks unfortunate, while President Ramaphosa's spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, said the president did not know about the trip, neither did he sanction it. Or General Mapwanya, who was in Iran solely for a military trip, has since returned home. Well, let's now take a listen to Kenya's President William Ruto, who was speaking at the joint EAC and SADC summit on the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Since our last meeting, I am pleased to report the following developments. On 1st of August 2025 in Nairobi, His Excellency President Mnangagwa and I met with a panel of facilitators to brief them on their mandate, which is to facilitate inclusive dialogue among the various actors in the Eastern DRC conflict, with the aim of addressing its root causes and achieving sustainable peace and development. During that meeting, the joint EAC SADC Secretariat presented a set of enabling documents developed in consultation with the Africa Union Commission to guide the operation of the merged East Africa-led Nairobi and Luanda peace processes. And these documents included, number one, the framework for the merger of the Nairobi-Luanda processes. Number two, terms of reference for the 5-member panel of facilitators appointed by the joint EAC SADC summit. Number three, process design for an inclusive mediation process in Eastern DRC. Number four, the proposed structure of the independent secretariat to support the facilitation process. And number five, the resource mobilization framework for supporting the joint initiative. These documents will be considered by Your Excellencies during this meeting to guide our joint efforts to restore peace, normalcy, and stability in Eastern DRC. President Mnangagwa and I have agreed to merge the EAC SADC and AU structures into one unified Africa-led initiative in order to enhance coordination and harmonization of the peace processes in the Eastern DRC. I therefore request Your Excellencies to consider the outcome of the joint meeting between the chairperson of SADC and EAC and the panel of facilitators.
Namibia's recent offshore discoveries of an estimated 11 billion barrels of oil and 2.2 trillion cubic feet of gas presents a generational opportunity to transform the country's economy. This is according to Deputy Prime Minister Nantagwe Itete at the Namibia Oil and Gas Conference. Speaking in Windhoek, Itete says it's a defining moment in the country's history, emphasizing that these discoveries could position Namibia as a leading energy frontier in Africa and globally.
Our distinguished guests.
We are gathered at a defining moment in our nation and Southern Africa history. Our recent offshore discovery, an estimate of 11 billion barrels of oil and 2.2 trillion cubic feet of gas, represent a generational opportunity to shape the destiny of our economy, empower our community, and establish Namibia and Southern Africa as one of the most prominent energy frontier on the continental and the globe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Namibia's oil and gas sector stands at the threshold of extraordinary possibilities. The world-class discoveries made in recent years have placed our nation in the spotlight as a potential leading energy frontier, but I want to be clear. The true measure of our success will not be in the number of barrels extracted, but in the number of lives uplifted.
Namibia's moment in the Orange Basin is now, it's here, and I'm sure that there are other basins to be unlocked by our friends and partners at the other oil companies. We can create in this country a beacon for responsible development for the African nation and for the world. So may this conference, may this week catalyze each one of us to seize the moment and to move forward in the heart of Ubuntu, together for Namibia.
We're looking potentially at about 5,000-6,000 jobs across the board, across various sectors. And those are direct jobs. The indirect jobs will probably be twice that many. So it bodes well for the future.
We'll take a break now on the program. Still to come. On our Africa Tech segment, we join the Digital Professional Fair aiming to equip young talents with essential digital tools and access. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has left the country for a two-nation trip to Japan and Brazil. The president had been scheduled to leave on Thursday but left this morning at around 11:15 a.m. Well, the president was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and other government officials. According to a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, the President will stop over in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, before proceeding to Japan. In Japan, President Tinubu will attend the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development in the city of Yokohama from August 20 to 22. At the end of the conference, President Tinubu is to proceed to the Republic of Brazil on a two-day state visit from Sunday 24th August to Monday 25th August. The Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency has asked manufacturing industries to comply with the state's environmental regulations or face the law when found guilty. The State General Manager of LASEPA, Dr. Tunde Ajayi, made this known during a one-day compliance workshop exercise for stakeholders in the manufacturing industries must make conscious effort to reduce and prevent air pollution when producing their products.
Environmental pollution is a major hazard that affects everyone. And as part of efforts to address the issue, the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, is engaging managers and workers of the manufacturing industries on regulations and compliance. The workshop exercise held at the Adeyemi Bero Auditorium in Alausa, Ikeja, is focused on building capacity of stakeholders in the manufacturing sector for sustainable development in Lagos State.
For us, convening meetings like this or engagements like this are very strategic in achieving our aims, in pushing our sustainability agenda, in driving change and deliberately making sure that industries comply to the regulations that have been set out by the mandate conferred on the agency.
Representatives of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and other partners did not hide their feelings about the issue of pollution. They urged other members and the general public to work closely with LASEPA in keeping the environment safe.
The massive turnout of our representatives of several manufacturing outfits here present today is a testament of our self-willingness to regulatory compliance. In Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, we continue to maintain a formidable relationship with LASEPA and other government regulatory agencies relevant to the operation of manufacturers.
You must invest in compliance expertise. If you don't have legal department, there are very good environmental law. Get a very good HSC guy to work for you. Have your register of all LASEPA law, of other laws that are important in the country, and look at your compliance.
And though government says regulatory compliance is gradually increasing, a lot more still needs to be done on the part of the public.
What we are doing is to make them, again, remind them of the regulations, one. Number two, show them how to do things easier, how to engage the agency better, how to comply with our regulations and not fall foul of the law. We feel that this is an easier way to drive environmental protection. And this also clearly complements enforcement when they don't do the right thing.
The Lagos state government says environmental management is everyone's responsibility and all manufacturing industries must adhere to regulatory standards in order to prevent air pollution and ensure a healthy living for all Lagos residents.
Welcome to our Africa Tech segment. Africa's youth unemployment crisis remains one of the continent's most pressing challenges. With digital skills in high demand globally, structured pathways to remote job opportunities are emerging as a solution. Well, that's why the Digital Professional Fair aims to equip young talents with essential digital tools and access, bringing together top talent, global companies and transformative ideas to help shape Africa's digital future.
So we are building an e-learning platform.
At a time when young people are brimming with creativity and ambition, but often face unemployment, underpayment, or a lack of structure, the Digital Professional Fair aims to prepare them for the demands of the digital economy.
Thank you very much.
The gathering brings together students, entry-level professionals, and newcomers to the digital space for a day of learning, skills training, and an ultimate goal to equip them for the realities of a competitive, fast-changing tech world. It's not just about getting a job, it's about becoming business ready, thinking globally, and building the kind of structure needed to operate like a corporate entity, whether as a creative, a coder, or an entrepreneur. The organizers say the goal is to help participants navigate the evolving tech landscape and position themselves for opportunities both at home and abroad.
The Digital Professional Fair is not, I keep saying, it's not an event, it's not a conference. It has been a movement. It's a vision to see Africa's digital professionals, creatives, founders, and freelancers operate with the same confidence, the same systems, and the same excellence as the best in the world. When I look at everyone here, it's proof that this vision, it works when you work it. This is what happens when a few decide that one day is today, and today is day one.
The event, supported by the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, features sessions led by industry professionals or sharing insights on how to succeed in today's digital economy.
And Africa digital economy, most especially, please look closely at these numbers. We have $712 billion as African digital economy for 2050, which is like a lot of years to come. This projected growth is by the International Financial Corporation and Google. So really, you being here is interesting. You are part of the future. As in, the digital age is not going nowhere, especially with the invention of artificial intelligence. Trust me, artificial intelligence just makes it immeasurable. And so you start wondering, the digital transformation is the heartbeat of modern economies, making it a non-optional driver for growth. Really, this is the conversation we need to be having.
If you want to get into the digital space, and you're like, how can I get into this industry? Say maybe you studied agriculture, and you have a passion for agriculture. There's probably a farm somewhere in Abeokuta or somewhere far in the north that needs an online presence. So imagine you taking your agricultural experience and merging your content knowledge and bringing it together. You are the perfect staff for that company because you understand the nuances of the business. You understand the technicality of the brand or whatever they are doing, and then you bring your quote-unquote Gen Z spice to it with content. Do you get? It's such an easy way. Healthcare, real estate, construction, like so many industries that you're thinking, I want to get into this industry. How can I get in? Have you considered content? Everybody needs content.
The fair addresses deeper issues from unemployment and underpayment to the challenges young people face in turning their skills into sustainable businesses, creating pathways for confident entry into the continent's growing digital workforce. And the organizers hope these sessions will leave participants better prepared to not just enter, but thrive in Africa's evolving tech space.
And as we end the program today, here's a fun fact about the continent. Did you know that there are penguins in Africa? Well, not many people know, but it's absolutely true. Penguins do live in Africa. Today, their small colony inhabits the coast at the tip of southern Africa, South Africa and Namibia, and also nearby islands. Unfortunately, the species are on the brink of extinction. The African penguin, also known as the Cape penguin or South African penguin, is typically small to medium in size, standing about 60 to 7 centimeters. Well, like all other penguins, these species do not fly. Instead, it features characteristic pink patches of skin above the eyes and a black facial mask. Well, if you didn't know, now you know. And that's it on the program for today and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde. Have a lovely weekend.